let's not mess about. Kick things off, bear with me. Let me verify this stream. Technology, man, I tell you, it's only good when it works. Folks, from the moment I came across this information, I could not wait to share it with you. It's a combination of a whole bunch of doctors on the front lines that are putting our health above any paycheck. How refreshing is that? It looks like the stream's all good, so let's not mess about. Welcome to UNMUZZLED Chat. The purpose for today's episode, my intent is to effectively sound the alarm on, in my eyes, the most important thing we got to collectively up our game in. And that is none other than protecting our own health. I believe the deterioration we are experiencing mentally, physically, emotionally, with all the inflammation, we can't even properly dissect and sift through all the noise politically and any other aspect to this life. And we're drowning and we're at each other's throats over it. And enough is enough. We got to stop with that and get more organized as a people. We have more in common with each other than any billionaire class. We are being played. Let's stop with all of that. So I genuinely feel the more we can up our health, the more bandwidth we will acquire, more resilience, patience, and we can see through all the bullshit being thrown in front of our faces and start focusing. What a refreshing concept. Start focusing on the roots of our issues, our oppressors, the ones poisoning us, the ones running under the banner of health that are clearly not doing anything on our behalf, getting to the root, breeding just that, health in our lives. Enough from me. Let's just dive into, and yes, this gold nugget I stumbled across was from none other than the Stu Peters Network. If you're not following him, if you're not plugged in to real truth speakers out there and seekers, I don't know what to tell you. We must gain the resilience to absorb this information and not just sit here and get triggered and take offense. Stu Peters is doing an amazing job. Redacted, Tucker Carlson, Ian Carroll, Nick Fuentes, so many. Let's start tapping into it. But enough from me. I actually chopped this up, but I feel this is the place to start. And then we'll bring some of the other things it goes over. But that's enough from me, folks. Please hear it for yourself. These doctors, their findings, once again, they're fighting on our behalf. Enough of the shenanigans. Let's just hone in on what is going to benefit us. We need more health. We're deteriorating. Give you a second to read that. And for those that listen to through the podcast app and aren't viewing, this might be one you want to view. But this is the words say, Wayne Rowland was diagnosed with terminal cancer attributed to years of lead poisoning. After hearing his options from a doctor, he was determined to find another way. Give this a listen. Such a powerful testimony.
The doctor told me what he was going to do. And he said, well, there's good news and there's bad news. I said, what do you want to hear first? I said, well, give me the bad news. Let's do that, and then you can give me the good news last, and I'll feel a little better. He said, all right. He said, number one, we have to remove your stomach and esophagus. But he said the good news is that if you survive the operation and survive the chemotherapy, we'll put a tube in, and you use a blender to, now as your stomach, they'll grind up all your food, and people that do that seem to live longer. I said, well, the good news? He said, well, that's the good news.
Wow.
I said, well, what's chemotherapy?
Great question.
And he looked at me, and without batting an eye, instantly he said, it's FDA approved. So I tried to get out of him what chemotherapy truly was.
The level of discernment that this man is already showing, these should be natural questions that our brain should be posing to ourselves in this, but we don't, for some reason, we don't question authoritative figures, in the white lab coats or badges or you name it. What is that other than proof that we are deteriorating across the board? I love this man's reason and a new path that life has thrown at him, an unexpected path, but how he, in my eyes, at a bare minimum, navigates it in a very powerful way. Why are we not following suit?
He wouldn't tell me, so I wanted to see it. And when I saw the bag, it looked terrible. There was a red skull and crossbones on the back of the bag, and the statement said, under no circumstances, even when this bag is empty, must it be cut open, death can ensue. And I said, well, you mean you're going to pump all this stuff into me and then what's left will kill you? And I said, the address here is Missouri. I said, I'm going to Missouri. I walked out, walked right down, spent the $1,000 for a ticket to Missouri and back. Went to Missouri and they wouldn't let me in the chemotherapy plant. I had to hire an attorney. There was a lot of kerfuffle. I finally got in. It cost me quite a bit of money to get into that plant. They were very nice. I got a full, complete rundown on chemotherapy. I have the chemical makeup of chemotherapy. They gave it to me. And I walked out with my attorney. It was all done and said. We left, and guess what? I was no further ahead because I'm not a chemist. I don't know what this chemical breakdown is. So I went to a compounding pharmacy knowing that they had a chemist in staff. And the man looked at it, and he looked at me and frowned and said, well, this is part of the war division, the chemical department of the armed forces. I said, really?
Wow.
He said yes, and told me it was mustard gas.
A warning sign should be posted beside them.
Are you guys tracking? He essentially came to the realization that mustard gas is, in fact, chemotherapy. Starting to make sense as to why 97% of our cancer patients that go on said therapy, in fact, don't benefit from it. It has a 97% fail rating. So how is mustard gas, and this leads us down discernment road of asking proper questions for whatever reason? How did it take so long for us to even start connecting these dots or caring enough to even ask these questions? I mean, that's an important question in and of itself. How is it that so many are avoiding these questions, even after a scam pandemic, even after a safe and effective? It's so crucial that we start acknowledging more so a normal functioning man and where we've deteriorated to this point now. And then we can start asking the more important questions. What is mustard gas doing? How has that become the gold standard for cancer treatments to begin with? With the skull and bones, we have the warnings. Once again, our health systems haven't been fulfilling. And this is where the incentivization, the whole structure, it needs to be demolished and rebuilt to where health services essentially are incentivized on the best outcome on behalf of its patients. As it stands, our system isn't incentivized to do that. It is incentivized to keep us sick. In fact, deteriorate us even further.
After hearing that they were planning on pumping mustard gas through me, I decided to put an ad in the paper, and it read like this. My name is Wayne Rowland. I'm just like you. I have heard that there's a cure for disease that's been suppressed. I have cancer. I'm not going to accept the modality of the day. I need to know if there's a cure that's suppressed out there, and I offer a $10,000 reward.
Fantastic.
I literally received thousands of calls, but one man impressed me. One man. And he said, there's not one cure for cancer that's been suppressed. There's been 5. Which one do you want to know about? I said, whatever one works. He sent me to somebody that had an original Rife-Ray unit, and I used it. 3 months later, the cancer was gone. So was my arthritis. So I started doing research into the Rife technologies, and I found another man who really knew quite a bit about Rife and had all the frequencies and everything, and I went to see him, and he became a friend of mine. His name is John Sajeka, and John Sajeka showed me that I wasn't using the Hertz rates to get rid of cancer at all. And that upset me, because I paid good money for this. Now, and why did the cancer leave? And I looked at the Hertz rates that I was using, and lo and behold, there were Hertz rates to get rid of worms.
Wow.
And parasites. It turned out that the lead poisoning was giving a bed for parasites to breed in furiously, and it was their waste that had given me cancer. I was absolutely in shock. And the more research I did and the further I got into this, the more I found out that pretty much all disease is caused by worms and parasites.
I agree.
Alrighty, I'm Dr. Lee Merritt, and I was a classically trained physician. I graduated from the University of Rochester School of Medicine and Dentistry. And to be honest, I'm an orthopedic spine surgeon by profession. So I didn't expect to be in a discussion about parasites and viruses. But what if I told you that cancer, acne rosacea, multiple sclerosis, and rheumatoid arthritis, 4 different diseases in 4 different areas of medicine, what if they can all be treated with parasite medication? We grew up believing that there was infectious disease that was airborne. We heard about the pandemic of 1918. We came up believing that we got sick because of these crazy little invisible virus particles.
Right.
Well, that turns out not to be true. If you're going to control a group of people, what are you going to have to do first? You're going to have to control the scientists. And one of the ways to do that is to control what they can publish. By the end of World War II, the British government controlled the largest medical publishing house in the world. It was called Butterworth. But it wasn't all the British government, it was MI6, the British spy agency. At this time, Butterworth had joined the German government to create a larger publishing house, and they called it Pergamon. Pergamon existed in Turkey as a sacrificial altar until it was rebuilt in Germany. Now, the first editor-in-chief of Pergamon wasn't a scientist at all. He was a spy. His name was Robert Maxwell. He was a Mossad agent and proven to be a spy for the British.
Surprise.
People recognize the name because he's actually the father of Ghislaine Maxwell, the consort to Jeffrey Epstein.
You cannot make this stuff up.
His assuming this role was a shock to everyone in the medical industry. I believe they've actually made up people and made up a whole branch of science, and that's the science of virology. If you look at virology, the man given credit for starting the science of virology is a man named John F. Enders. He's also given credit as the father of modern vaccines. What got my attention, though, right away when I was trying to find out who this guy was, is that he eventually won the Nobel Prize for being able to be the first guy to culture viruses.
Och här är då först professor Enders.
Now, I'm going to tell you, his paper that he won the Nobel Prize for, you can't read the original paper because they've bottled it up behind an institutional paywall.
Why?
If I'm the chief of medicine at Harvard, I can probably get at it, but I can't get at it, and you'd have to pay a lot of money to get at it. Why do they care about a paper that was written in 1954? We know about his paper from his Nobel laureate presentation when he was awarded the Peace Prize in 1954. So who is he? Well, on the Nobel website, they explain his history. They say he took off a year from Yale to go fight in the Air Force in 1918 and was given to rank of ensign.
1967 marks the 20th anniversary of the establishment of the United States Air Force.
There was no Air Force in 1918. Okay, it was the Army Air Corps. We didn't have an Air Force until World War II timeframe. And number two, there are no ensigns in the Air Force ever. That's a naval rank. Not only that, they claim that his PhD was in 1930 at Harvard. He got a PhD purportedly in bacteriology and immunology. The first immunology PhD was granted in 1974. And yet here we have the Nobel site telling us he's got a PhD in immunology from 1930. Who's making this up?
Your doctor can surely
Great
help when you're
questions.
not well. Anne is just fine. We take good care of her, the doctor says. Isn't it good to have a doctor who can help you?
Because after this paper was published and was elevated by publications like Pergamon, virology basically replaced the science on parasites as they continue to impact our health.
Wow.
So by this point in the 20th century, the medical industry gave us two paths. One was petroleum medicine that was designed to prolong our illness to create wealth off it, and the other was homeopathic medicine found in nature that was derived to cure the illness. A good example of this was Royal Rife's groundbreaking frequency device. We first have to realize that this is a false reality. There's something wrong with our reality. It's not just they're lying to us about a little thing here and a little thing there. There's a general overlay of falsehood overlying science in our world today. How do we get out of it? So
Great
here's what you
question.
need to know. We get sick because of three things primarily. We get sick because of electromagnetic radiation,
Boom.
because of poisons that they put into the environment, and because of parasites. Well, we now know that we are electromagnetic. Now, the work of Dr. Pollack up in Washington State, or the University of Washington in Seattle, he looked at how you get rid of toxins in the body. And it turns out the body works like a battery. You actually have to keep a charge. You have a negative and positive charges, and you have this exclusionary zone. And when you have a poison in the body, let's say you're cleaning with Lysol because you're convinced that you need to, sterilize everything, which is not a good idea, by the way. But you did that, and you get some of these particles ingested in you and in your body. They act as poisons, but your body can handle it because it isolates them with a charge and it spits them out. And that's how we get rid of toxins in our cells. If you get too many and your batteries are run down, then you can't survive. And that is what flu is. So if you screw up the battery system for a variety of ways, you don't get enough sunlight. So this all makes sense when you start looking at it.
Right.
And what's happening, every time we've had like the H1N1, every time we've had a pandemic in the modern world, it's been associated with an increase in electromagnetic frequency. When they said a virus spread around Wuhan and was killing people, they didn't lie, but they were speaking the old tongue. In Latin, virus means poison. It does not mean a little germ. In my lifetime in medicine, what I've seen happen is they have denied us the technology, and they've demonized looking for these things. They made it a joke. One of the things that woke me up to the parasite problem is we're seeing all these people with turbo cancer, right? We're hearing all this stuff about cancer and these weird things happening. They're showing up with multiple cancers. People, I hear this from oncologists and medical doctors. They're saying, we see these people that have been in remission for years, and now suddenly they're breaking out with cancer everywhere in a very aggressive form. If you look in the cancer literature research that's going on right now at the NIH, you'll find that they're looking very, very closely at fenbendazole, albendazole, all these anti-parasitic drugs for treatment of cancer. Now, they're not admitting that it's actually parasites are cancer. What they're saying is, isn't it interesting that these anti-parasitic drugs also treat cancer? There's been an underground use of this for a long time, but now the medicine doctors are kind of coming around to saying, hey, these drugs could have use, but they don't want to ask the next question, is parasites really cancer? Now, we also had, by the way, this isn't just cancer. Dr. McDonald, who's a pathologist, looked at very carefully, sectioned the brain and spinal cord of people that died from MS, multiple sclerosis.
In the year 1910, 0.07% of people in America died from cancer. So you might ask yourself, with such a little bit of death, why would they make what later became known as the American Cancer Society? The question was, is this caused by a parasite or somewhat microorganism, or is it something else? That's always been a debate. And that debate has never been resolved. So if you go back to the literature back in between 1850 and 1900, you'll see they just started using microscopes, and some people were able to see. And there was a couple of very important papers called this around 1898, several actually, which said that they saw these little organisms only in malignant tissue, not in healthy tissue. And so they were calling it the cancer parasite.
The CDC reports right now a third of Americans have parasites, and yet not a single medical doctor in America even knows parasites exist in this country. So I find it very interesting that everyone thinks they're just a developing world issue. They're not. They do exist here in America, and it's been amazing to watch a lot of medical doctors around the world get excited in the last 5 years about the reality that anti-parasitic herbs and drugs can cure most, if not all, cancer types of tumors, masses, no matter what stages. They took these brains, 10 brains of MS patients, and the cerebral spinal fluid. They did a spinal tap on all of the deceased and evaluated their spinal fluid and their brains. They cut up the brains in little bitty slivers to dissect them and then lay them open. And they wanted to see what's in every single one of these brains of an MS patient and what's in every single spinal tap sample from every single MS's spinal cord tissue. 100% of every brain had roundworm parasites eating holes in their brain.
100%,
every
folks.
Single cerebral spinal fluid spinal tap sample had 3-inch worms swimming in the cerebral spinal fluid called roundworms.
So I have lupus, which is another autoimmune disease, and I do sometimes have similar symptoms to MS. I've lost function of my hands and my arms before. I have seizures, all that stuff. So I've been doing a lot of research on how to heal and cure autoimmune diseases. And what I found is that a lot of scientists think parasites are like the root cause of autoimmune diseases. So 3 weeks ago, I started a parasite cleanse. My health has improved so much. It's honestly freaking me out. My pain levels have gone down significantly. Usually like my entire body aches and hurts all the time. So that's amazing.
How many of you have been told by your oncologist that you have parasites in your brain? And I know it's kind of hard for people to grasp this reality that a medical professional may not know something about your health or the diagnosis that they are actually specifically trained to address.
Right.
But most autoimmune diseases, most cancers I've ever seen in my practice who had been diagnosed with any form of cancer, the majority of them and those diagnosed with any autoimmune disease, fibromyalgia, lupus, it doesn't matter, rosacea even, they have parasites. And the moment you clear them out, all their symptoms disappear. Rosacea patients' cheeks all clear up. The big butterfly rash of a lupus patient clears up, and all their symptoms disappear. All their pain and all their joints goes away. You just don't know that this is what is linked to many of people's suffering, and why it is, if you're not addressing to get rid of the parasitic infection, why it is you are being prescribed anti-inflammatories and steroids for life. And why there's no other things being told to you to provide hope, faith that you can recover. Wow. Parasites are pervasive throughout the entire world. They are not exclusive to only third world underdeveloped countries. They are here in America. There's a reason why every animal we eat in America is treated with ivermectin, some kind of bendazole, which kills parasites and parasitic eggs. There's a reason why every cow we eat, almost every animal we eat in this country, has to be treated for parasites before you eat them. They do know that in America they can send a request for a stool analysis for parasites to Genova Labs and to Quest Labs and to LabCorp. But I'm going to tell you right now, the names of those tests are comprehensive stool analysis test for parasites. Each of them say comprehensive. And every time the medical doctor is going to get your stool sample report and it's going to say you're negative for parasites. Those tests are only screening for one of the 4 classified versions of parasites. They only screen for one in America. One. That one is called protozoa. Well, there's 3 other types called flukes, roundworms, and tapeworms. So just so you know, every MS patient has been found to have roundworms, and none of those labs are screening to see if you have any of those in your body. Wow. They're only looking for protozoa, which is professed to be the #1 parasite infection in Americans. So I'm telling you, if you do those tests, they are extremely limited. I said there's 4 classifications of parasites, 4 different types. within those types, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of different named parasites in each of those categories of the 4. When you're looking at LabCorp, Genova Labs, and Quest, they're only testing for one protozoa of the hundreds of thousands. They're only looking for one. So if they don't see that one, they're going to tell you don't have parasites. So guess why the majority of your medical professionals don't see positive results in these parasite screenings? They are screening of the millions of various kinds of parasites. They're only looking for one. But the MDs aren't trained about parasites in med school. They're told parasites only exist in third world countries. So parasites are a bigger deal than your medical professional knows and bigger than you know.
Correct.
Keep in mind there are multiple ways to do a cleanse. I actually took an approach every month that our entire family did something every single month to cleanse and detox parasites. Now, this is not what we do right now, but for years it was really simple. I actually each month was ordering from other countries online. I was ordering ivermectin tablets. So I did that for years, and I would just make sure our kids, us as adults, were taking ivermectin every single month.
More breaking news this evening. Joe Rogan, an extremely popular podcaster, announced on social media today that he has COVID. In his statement on social media, Rogan said he has taken several therapeutics to recover.
Turns out I got COVID. So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, Z-Pak.
One of those drugs he mentioned, ivermectin, is something more often used to deworm horses.
Incorrect. More often? Oh my gosh. The only reason it exists is for the benefits to human. It's just interesting how humans have been manipulated to go more viral and bacterial focused versus parasitical, where animal-based medicines stayed more so effective with the more so common used ivermectins. How did we walk away more so from the effective? It was everything these other doctors have gone through throughout history, the power structure, how quickly and how long ago it influenced. I apologize. I've sat here biting my tongue, trying to just get through the experts. I mean, I just gotta stand. I can't refrain from by my mouth at the point people are blatantly spewing BS and lies, true propaganda. And there's more of it here in a bit. And it's amazing to see. Hindsight truly is 2020, whether you understood this during the scam pandemic or not. What a gift it is now, because ultimately at the end of the day, I just want what's best for you. I want to see us all have more robust health so we can show up to our betterment regarding all the other issues we are facing. But just to tap back a little, I don't think the majority of folks even like maybe caught or grasped that amazing lady that was touching on the whole COVID, that it wasn't in fact a virus, that it was a poison, that they're speaking in the old tongue. I wonder how poisons were making it into our bodies. How was it being administered? This type of think versus the propaganda talk, continuing that propaganda of, oh, you had COVID, that is keeping us from getting to the root of the issue of what is ailing us. We got to be able to have those open conversations to essentially even hone in and identify what is negatively impacting us so we can address that to have the adverse impact or the better impact. It is so frustrating, even with me biting my tongue, to see people pop in and pop out and not able to sit through and absorb this information. For F's sakes, it's only in regards to your health. It's only highlighting how medical has been subverted into, and everything's been flipped on its head to where it's more about profit. let's be frank, it's more about world population and control tactics, even over profit. Profit is just a huge perk for these elitists to roll these things out. But we've played ad nauseum. TED Talk, Bill Gates, just for one example, not to mention Georgia Guidestone, Rothschild Manifesto, World Economic Forum, Agenda 2030, you name it. It's been blasted. I mean, this current administration praising Pfizer, praising it, praising them, $70 billion deals to further that technology. Teaming up with AstraZeneca, $50 billion deal going on there. Vaccine, the whole vaccine industry still having immunity. Pharmaceuticals still have the ability to advertise. So on and so forth. There's a few others I want to touch on that is slipping my mind. I mean, I guess warp speed being one of them, still being praised. It's interesting because I'm seeing a lot of challenge for people willing to absorb the truth. And I keep saying stepping into reality, waking up, unplugging from the matrix and seeing the reality around them so we can properly address it. But as I see all these mental, whatever you want to classify it as, disconnects, cognitive dissonance, brainwashing, cult-like think, left versus right, just an endless arena one could just lose their life in. But stepping out of it, it's like, well, dang it, it's because in my eyes, it keeps resorting back to health. It's like our health has been impacted and diminished where we keep showing up for the circus of things and the smoke and the mirrors versus stepping outside and really organizing in a way we're effectively addressing the real issues at hand and who essentially is instigating that. So health is so crucial and it's so personalized. But for some reason, people aren't able to sit through very basic segments. That has me greatly concerned, folks. If we can't focus more so and not acknowledge we are the sickest country in the world, we are sicker than we've ever been. For frick's sakes, you could just look at some basic numbers and statistics such as suicide, depression, chronic illness, died suddenly, cancers, turbo cancers. The simple fact that our nation, for the first time in history, the die-off is bigger than our rebirth. So, in fact, we're a dying nation. Come on, folks. It is paramount. There's God, and then there's the war tactics. We live in a wartime. How is it so many are having such a hard time acknowledging that fact? In prior generations didn't have this cognitive dissonance because former methods of warfare, it was kind of hard to live in denial when a bullet whizzes by your head or hits one of your comrades or friends or a bomb goes off, taking some of your bodily parts with it. It's hard to live in denial at that point. And the very tactics are rolling out is causing a level of cognitive decline and fog that it's even harder to realize. It literally is that frog in that pot of water. And it's harder to address any of these threats, just like freedom. It's far easier to fight for the freedoms you still have than fight for the freedoms you've lost. Translate that into our health. It is far easier to fight for the health while we still have it than be at a diminished place if we even obtain the ability to still acknowledge that we've been diminished, to therefore then acknowledge it if we can and gain it back far harder. We didn't properly address the scam pandemic. What else did we have to expect other than all the stats we see? No one is immune to this. It is of the utmost, and frankly, I believe if everyone could fully absorb the level and the extent that evil is going to yes, attack you and diminish you and everyone around you to its fullest, like reality, we wouldn't even go into our day jobs. We would acknowledge a warfare and we would fully engage and organize and address those threats, because it would be entirely delusional to go on with a life of normacy as though football, Netflix, all these other things are what freaking is important with the finite amount of time we still have, as though we're giving the American dream to our children. It is entirely delusional. I'm going to get off my soapbox, but let's absorb the rest of this. I love and appreciate all of you for hearing my rants and making it this far. In fact, if you want to rant yourself, please reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. I'd love to have open dialogue and discussion with you. I got a few echoing things I need to figure out regarding guests, but we'll start queuing you in. Just reach out. Would love to hear from you.
I'm glad you're well, man.
Bro, do I have to sue CNN?
Oh, no, do you?
They're making shit up. They keep saying I'm taking horse dewormer. I literally got it from a doctor.
Right.
They won the Nobel Prize in 2015 for use in human beings.
Yeah.
And CNN is saying I'm taking horse dewormer.
Ivermectin, a dewormer.
Look at
really?
this.
They are shaming themselves. No one has to shame them. They're shaming themselves.
No, they need to
by
be
doing
shamed.
that. Yeah.
They need to be called out and shamed.
They need to be shamed. Unbelievable. It was historically, originally human for human consumption, not the animals. But yes, lo and behold, the animals benefited just like the humans. They were paid propagandists to take this stance. I cannot believe, because it's not just CNN, it's all of them. Fox, all of them. Anyone, did they ever apologize? Did they ever share fully? No, they just, most of them just pawned it off. We were given bad information. My gosh, you're talking about shaming people. This is a very powerful moment to fully absorb the entirety of like what we experienced in our lifetime. And there hasn't been any proper accountability. The simple fact that ABC Soup News is continuing, irregardless as to its viewership, blows my freaking mind that we haven't pitchforked and shut them down entirely. All of them. And people are just lulling themselves back into sleep as though this administration, blindly not seeing that this administration's fulfilling like any other administration, that frick MAGA. They posed as though they cared about making America great again, and they're serving foreign interests in foreign countries. Define traitor. A traitor, as far as I'm concerned, or the very definition would show you, in this case, as an American, any American that serves foreign interests, full stop, period, the end. That's a traitor. That's someone historically that would get convicted with treason. Kind of a big deal. I believe in America only at this point. We've deteriorated. We're all feeling it financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's America only till we stop the hemorrhaging. Then at that point, we could look at being a blessing outwardly. But that's futuristically. It's America only. This administration isn't even filling MAGA. And I believe the biggest disconnect for people absorbing what is playing out day after day after day, and the clown show of this administration. This is not an outcome I was hopeful for, but dang it, it is what it is. And I believe the challenge for people to acknowledge and stop lying to themselves is because their health is so bad. They can't even live in that world. So willing to absorb. I need to finish my points before I continuously roll on. Right here before you, all my flaws. I'm not perfect either. And that's the problem with the continuous poisoning happening day after day after day. We are forever dogs chasing its tail, trying to band-aid, eradicate, cleanse, pump as clean as we can, which none of it will be with the tactics being rolled out. So we got to put a stop to this. And it is of the utmost importance. And we're just not showing up. We're just allowing time to go by. And evil in this life, that's all they need, is uninterrupted time. And they're willing to go to any lengths to shut up any true threat of opposition. Charlie Kirk became one of that. And they're trying to sell you to polarize a left versus right think as though that was the outcome of that situation. Newsflash. Breaking news. They're lying. We'll bring the receipts even more because apparently those need to be gone over more. But Candace Owens is doing a fantastic job. Ryan Matta's doing a fantastic job. Tucker, so many others. And my question is to those that claim and were spending buddy time with him at the point he was assassinated right here in broad daylight in front of thousands of our people. Now millions of people, hundreds of millions, billions of people worldwide have seen that assassination. Why is it there's only a select handful of people that are still posing like, hey, this don't smell right. We need to get to the bottom of this assassination. More so than Erica Kirk, everyone that surrounded Charlie at TPUSA. What a freaking the world we live in. I swear we are more deteriorated than we even realize. Let's finish this up. These freaking clown faces. I can't stand it.
Yeah. Brother, I am taking a regular dose, whatever. They're trying to build up of ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin.
Now, we would only do one dose, so we were just doing it monthly as a way to cleanse worms and parasites. This is not what I use to treat parasites. This is very different. So in my practice, we treated autoimmune diseases from all around the world. 16 different countries came to my practice in both Tennessee and Texas, and 80% of all the people who had autoimmune diseases had parasites, and I never had to use ivermectin and never had to use hydroxychloroquine to treat those patients. I typically would use a 5-day on, 5-day off approach of using herbs from plants that actually kill worms of parasites, break open eggs of parasites, and so you would cycle these things 5 days on, 5 days off. The primary ones I used were wormwood extract, otherwise known as artemisinin, a plant, and it has some of the very same actions in the human body to protect you from parasites as ivermectin does and hydroxychloroquine. So I always used wormwood extract, and I used dandelion root extract, which is very anti-parasitic, and then we also used other herbs and plants.
It's amazing.
A 6-year, 4-year term in medical school, they get 19 hours of nutritional studies. That is the same as a 1-weekend course in 6 years. So when you go to your medical doctor and ask them, should I take vitamin C? They don't know.
Wow.
They don't know anything about vitamin C. Should I take vitamin D during the summer or in the winter? Most of them don't know either. So they're just not taught much about that or given much credence. In fact, they're just taught there's a symptom, prescribe the drug. And like I said before, wormwood I've used for over 20 years to help people clear parasites of all kinds, no matter what the form. And then there is a clover called red clover. It is an incredible herb at killing parasites also. This should be the staple for anybody trying to do a parasite cleanse. I'm not sure anybody knows this, but did y'all know hydrogen peroxide kills parasites?
Wow.
Did you know your own cells in your body make hydrogen peroxide, and every cell in your body will make hydrogen peroxide? Now, the only way you would see a whole population of people having a whole bunch of parasites as issues and diseases being diagnosed, but they are parasites, you have to understand the gravity at which all human beings have less hydrogen peroxide production in their body. You just need to go do the test, and then you can educate your medical professionals what they were not taught in med school. And they were not taught about parasites, and they were not taught about nutrition.
Watch the full documentary, Parasites, the Cancer Within, at parasitemovie.com.
I recommend people
for
check
free.
this
The
out.
journey to uncovering what's truly happening inside our bodies is far from over. And we're just scratching the surface. More experts will pull back the curtain on the things they don't want you to know. The truth is out there, and it's time to see it.
Parasites are real. I can prove parasites are real. I know they're out in the world today. Now we have known parasitic diseases like MS. That's why I recommend Purge Advanced Parasite Cleanse.
Purge, crafted with an all-natural blend of 19 powerful ingredients, designed to target and eliminate every type of parasite inside the human body, from hidden invaders causing fatigue to those impacting your overall well-being. Join thousands of users who've already transformed their health, experiencing incredible energy and a renewed sense of well-being.
But what if I told you that cancer, acne rosacea, multiple sclerosis, and rheumatoid arthritis, 4 different diseases in 4 different areas of medicine, what if they can all be treated with parasite medication?
Get yours now at www.purgestore.com and use the coupon code STU for a 20% off discount.
Yes, we're listening to none other than the Stu Peters Network. You all should subscribe and keep up with all their content. Let's see. There's one last clip here.
To eliminate
these researchers
for diagnoses, including
vaccinated children.
Use these supplements, these medications for a point in time in our life, eliminating anything that lowers your vibe.
More truth bombs coming up, folk.
What these researchers found was that vaccinated children had 4.29 times the rate of asthma, 3.03 times the rate of atopic disease, 5.96 times the rate of autoimmune disease, and 5.53 times the rate of neurodevelopmental disorders.
A number of different diagnoses, including diabetes and ADHD, and a number of them. In the unvaccinated group, there was 0. In other words, all these chronic diseases that we're accepting, the reality is maybe 99% of them don't have to exist in children.
Wow.
That's not the way God made us.
Right.
They looked at over 47,000 Medicaid claims between 1999 and 2011. Those who were vaccinated versus unvaccinated, I say an odds ratio of like 2.81 to 1. So that would be 181% increase. Epilepsy seizures, 252%. Learning disorders, 581%. If you look at all these different diagnoses, they're all higher. For example, I'll just give you one example. Learning disorders in the full term is 581%. In the preterm, the ones who are vaccinated, 884% increase. Every single vaccine has an excipient that is a human toxin.
That infant even knows what's good for him. I want what's best for you. I want what's best for your children. And the sooner we up our batteries, our frequencies, our wavelengths, our spiritual, God-given selves, the sooner we can face and effectively organize other worldly issues. Here's more. It's kind of, I know it's disgusting. It's not easy to view a lot of this, but here is the initial quick clips regarding other parasites. And we gotta start asking ourselves, well, where's this coming from? And if you think about it, just like that gentleman's testimony, when he got his cancer diagnosis and he found out, well, what's the chemo? Oh, this is what you're trying to prescribe. And he looks into it, and it's a gas, mustard gas, literally, as a medical procedure for cancer that has a 97% failure rate. And it leads him down this other path to doing other treatments. And he gets well. And it's parasitical based treatments, come to find out. He didn't know. But after his cancer was treated, it's like, well, what is it that's causing, because our bodies naturally can deal with a lot of this. So what is happening within our bodies to allow this to become an ongoing, like a greater threat, where it can live in our bodies more robustly than previous years? Well, what has changed? And if we're honest with ourselves regarding the streaks in the sky and things like that, I'm sorry, folks, when we're honest with ourselves, this is relatively new. How is it Disney got caught trying to hire a guy to go back in prior content and add streaks to the sky in the tunes of millions of dollars? But when we go back, and not even that long, but in my childhood, I can remember this wasn't a thing. The normal contrail that would chase the jet that would dissipate almost immediately. Yeah, I can remember those. But ones that would span from horizon to horizon, lasting all day, blanketing the sky, that is relatively new. And then the whole Internet of Things, guys, we got to understand there's nothing conspiratorial. They use propaganda and weaponized words to keep us in the dark from doing our due diligence. But at the end of the day, we must hone in on what is impacting us. And it's these methods, I believe, that is creating a breeding ground for parasites and other things to run rampant and ramp up all that other chronic illness that is plaguing our country and the world as we know it today. So it's absolutely crucial, and we're not absorbing this information and connecting the dots fast enough. We're not challenging ourselves to even do anything about it. And it tells us a lot when, to this day, this is the most censored topic overall over anything else is regarding our health. What does that tell us?
I can control what I put into my mouth. I can control what I feed to my child. I can control how I grow my food and if I want to spray pesticides or not. But I cannot control the experiments over my head.
Right.
Within an hour, it spreads out. It creates a blanket.
We're in a war. This is a war against me, you, our children, our grandchildren, and generations to come. This is war raged upon us.
These programs consist of spraying tons of patented aerosol pollutants into our skies without public consent. This includes aluminum, barium, strontium, and more.
It's targeting your food, your water, and it's coming in multiple different ways.
If people want to know if this is a real thing, states have bills to ban it.
Right. I think there are now 32 states that have taken an attempt at this. This has become a huge issue.
If your average citizen...
Absorb that. It's still conspiracy talk when there's active bans in 32 states trying to fight this and stop this from happening. Nothing conspiratorial about it. RFK recently put out there on a viral post, we are going to stop this crime. What is he acknowledging? How is it conspiratorial, but RFK's calling it a crime? Now, am I going to put all my eggs in that basket as though that singular man, the one that flip-flopped, went from the anti-vaxxer to the vaccine salesman, that's still allowing, that stood behind Trump as he praised Pfizer's $70 billion deal there, that still allows pharmaceutical companies to advertise. It still allows vaccine manufacturers immunity. We're going to bank on him from stopping this crime. We must assemble now to put a stop to this, because I'm going to share a picture of the skyline right here outside of the studio I took right before doing this episode, and it's of the utmost importance. You think you are immune to that aluminum? Aluminum on a nanospectrum, which has been caught and captured up in the stratosphere, and it has no other way of getting up there than through these very tactics. When you look at the research as to how detrimental that is to neurological, inflammatory, to not just human life, all biological life, plant life, mammals, even non-mammal, lizards, things of that nature, all biological life as we know it. It is entirely destructive. Could that be one of the methods, as we absorb more of that, that's allowing parasites, turbo cancers, reproduction rates, depression, suicide, all these other things we're faced with? 100%. And metals, as we know, the more we absorb in the body, and I'm going to share a personal testimony at the end of this clip, it's almost done, is to what I've been noticing when I'm out in nature and I'm tapping and I'm going down into normal civilization. And I feel I'm the canary in the coal mine at this point. And that could be very beneficial for the miners or those in that environment if they care to listen to someone at a place where I know with the other things I'm ailed with, such as Lyme disease, another bioweapon, I'm right at that baseline of function, so I can really feel the weight of any subtle shift of inflammation or anything coming upon my body. I'll share more on that when we wrap this up. But what are you doing today? Are you doing anything? There's geoengineering watch that you could go just fill out, forward on to the representatives to try to get a ban in your state. And they're accounting for everyone that's sending this out, so we're accumulating the numbers, because a lot of our state representatives, elected officials, aren't listening to we the people. They're serving, and through other lobby groups, they're serving not we the people. And it's clear as day. So we must do more. Are you doing anything? Have we just become hollow projections, as though we love ourselves, as though we love our God, as though we love our parents and children and siblings and friends, colleagues? Because it's a hollow projection of love at the point we're not willing to do our part and end the threats that are posing themselves to those we love in this life. There's more to this life than the American dream at this point. A lot of war times of old, do you think they wanted to tap in and answer the call to war? You're not given a choice. It's very interesting to me. Just because the war tactic has shifted, we're willing to live in a sense of denial and not acknowledge the war being waged day after day. Looking up in the sky, seeing these things and just saying that's normal. Believing the convenient lie of water vapor and ice crystallization. Are you kidding me? Water vapor and ice crystallization dissipates immediately. It's not going to linger all day, glitter, blanket the freaking skies. How are we lying to ourselves? I cannot repeat this enough, because the fact of the matter is we're just going through another day, and we're not challenging ourselves to do anything about it. So believe the convenient lie versus show up for the reality, which is an inconvenient truth. Now, I get it's inconvenient, but we are far past the time of ignoring that very threat.
And knew the truth of what's going on and what they're being exposed to without their consent, they would be outraged and they would take action.
They would.
I don't want some creep
absorb it.
ramming chemicals down my throat without my permission.
We need to prosecute those people that are doing it.
Do we stand in one spot and say enough is enough? And if they don't listen, we take it to the next step?
Yes.
You've been doing this for a while?
Yep.
Long time. People do care.
Yeah.
We care deep.
I know that.
So we're now getting
That's a
really
pilot
involved, and now we're
admitting,
going to
by the
bring
way.
something legal against your company.
Parasites are sly, using the cleverest of ploys to stay alive while destroying almost everything in their tracks. Parasites have no mercy. They live in and feed off their host and could be the leading cause of most disease and ailments we experience. Undoubtedly, you have them living inside you right now.
I could just see people being like, ew, this is gross, I'm not going to watch it. It's like, okay, well, just ignore the creatures that live inside you and don't re-listen to any of the information to properly address that at all. What's more gross? Seeing this, find the solutions, absorbing the reality, or ignoring it and living. Just, befriend these, even synthetically modified parasites. Yes, they have been weaponized 100%. They've been trying to address the character flaws world elites have stated, the belief in God as a character flaw. We need to cure the human species of this radicalized belief in God. Yes. Oh yeah. We've gone over to that in prior episodes. That's 100% a thing. They've talked about it. They've presented on all of that, among many other things. This is more than addressing the cognitive and all these other issues. Think about this uptick, for example, of the unorganic gay. There's no gene that they've honed in on. You're not born with it. Yes, propaganda, you could be manipulated. And this is a whole other topic. We could really dive into it. But the simple fact that doctors have reported through antiparasiticals, gay couples even coming out of their gay as they were taking simple things such as ivermectin and being normalized. And it's normal to be attracted to the opposite sex. Okay, so yes, even this has been weaponized to pump this fiction of gay. Now, without it being pedestaled, sure, historically there seems to be a precedent. There always seems to be a level, but it's always been minuscule. And when you really think about it, it's not even generational. Okay, so naturally it dies off because you can't even reproduce with the gay in your life. So it would be an insignificant number, and it never would exceed past that. So we got to backpedal, and I don't care. I'm a free speech enthusiast, and I don't care at the point. Now, I can empathize with people, and people really want to go into the depth. That's fine. But we're not to normalize or praise something that even nature fights against because it's not generational. You know, I'm ahead of myself and I'm getting off topic, but I just see the benefit of addressing, you address this, so many other ailments of our society and types of think would also miraculously, in my eyes, more so be addressed.
Surgeons thought that she had a brain tumor. But when they opened her up, a surpassing find.
A life temporarily hijacked by a parasite.
You know what they say? An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
So this tapeworm, when you actually look at it, has one small little head up here that we've gotten in the little plant. And the tapeworm head There's a little sucker on it, and it sucks and it holds on to you right there.
Dr. Kenny Bond told InsideEdition.com about a patient who pulled, get this, a 5-foot-long tapeworm out of his gut.
A microscopic parasite that's becoming a summertime rite of passage is once again making Americans sick. And doctors say it's a nasty one, causing flu-like symptoms.
This morning, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is responding to a report that a parasite was found in his brain more than a decade ago.
Doctors are investigating a medical mystery in Australia after a worm was removed from a woman's brain.
There we go. That was all the pressing information. Oh boy, what's going on? How do I don't know how to toggle all this stuff, figure all this out, my goodness. Ever since I came across that gold nugget, I've been meaning to share it with you, and I can tell I'm more so speaking at people than with people. The benefit to having people on the podcast and have an open dialogue. How crucial that is versus seeming like this loon raging. I'm just so passionate about us seizing this moment in time, and I just see time just continuously passing us by, and we're focused on things in a wartime that frankly are irrelevant, not even realizing the depth of the threats each and every day. Father, help us, help me. Come on Muzzled Chat. Let's have those open discussions. Email muzzledchat@gmail.com. I don't even care about anything else. Plug in anything. This is about you. This is about me. This is about all of us in this moment in time, upping our health and our bandwidth, fulfilling the purpose we're here. With that, I appreciate you. If there's any value to this, please share or send the link to someone you know and care. Could you even imagine sharing the information with cancerous patients and just through absorbing more so truthful information, leading them on a path that is going to save their lives versus send them on a spendy road that has a 97% failure rate. My gosh, the world we live in, pinch me. I can't believe it. I need to go take a walk, and it's going to be painful because it's under a poison-filled sky. Oh, that's something I didn't even do. Let's share the screen. Where is it? I took this right before the episode, folks. Come on. Why? Never historically was this a thing. It's like the fact we haven't absorbed this. It's a slow drip. It's hard to acknowledge the water's getting warm. If we use that like frog in the pot of water and slowly turning it up, you set someone in as it's boiling, like a frog in there, it's going to hop right out. But you slowly crank it up, you literally can boil them alive. How is it we aren't acknowledging this? This wasn't how our skies looked historically at all. There was, they named 7 different new cloud formations. Are you freaking kidding me? This is poison. And dare I say, for those that don't see this as a threat, well, it's because the poison in them is working and is dumbing us down from even acknowledging the true depth and the harm. It blankets the dang sky. Unbelievable. Have you noticed? Bees are nearing extinct. The freaking reindeer herds that were clocked, registered in millions are down to tens of thousands. The data's overwhelming. The writing's on the wall. It's your choice. Are you going to do anything about it? Until next time, take care.